Welcome to the Rails member update, July 18th. So we have a lot of people on today, a lot of sites. We have people on Rails Live. We have a lot of agenda items. I think we'll just jump right in. And as always, if you can't hear, please let us know. If you have some technical difficulty, please let us know. And if you want to, if you're listening via Rails Live, you can email a question and we'll pick it up and we'll answer it. All right, so without further ado, let's do introductions, and I guess we will start in Bolingbrook.
I don't think anybody's home in Bolingbrook.
Apparently no one is in Bolingbrook, off to a rousing start. Okay, we will go to Burr Ridge, where there are many people. I am Deirdre Brennan, I'm the Executive Director.
Ann Slaughter, Director of Technology Services here at Rails.
Ryan Hebel, IT Rails.
Joe Philippek, Director of Consulting and Continuing Education.
Margie Schmidt, Consulting and Continuing Education Specialist.
Diana Rush, Consulting and Continuing Education Specialist.
Jessica Barnes, Special Projects Librarian.
Stacy Palmisano, Administrative Assistant.
Anna Beam, E-Content Specialist here at Rails.
Dan Bostrom, Member Engagement Manager at Rails.
Roberta Richter, Director of Morris Area Public Library.
Nikki Zimmerman, Marketing and PR Specialist here.
How about Coal Valley?
Angela Campbell, Rock Island.
Kim Brazovic, Rock Island.
Carolyn Coulter, Prairie Cat.
Lisa Lockhart, Rock Island.
Leanne Bredberg, Andalusia.
Jeffrey L. Stafford, Esquire, Coal Valley.
Esquire?
Esquire.
That's it.
All right, thank you. How about East Peoria?
Tom Stagg, Alva Park Library.
Jennifer Sevier, Peoria Public Library.
Jennifer Davis, Peoria Public Library.
Roberta Koshelski, Peoria Public Library.
All right, great. Thank you. Nice to see you. So now we'll go to our library sites. Aurora. There are people in Aurora, as far as I know.
They're muted, but they're connected.
Are you there? Are you out there, Aurora? We can't hear you. Maybe you're muted. We will come back to you. How about Cherry Valley?
Good morning, Jane Lenzer from here at Cherry Valley Public Library.
Should I introduce?
Yes, go right ahead.
I'm Alicia Tippins from Marengo High School Library.
Great. Thank you. How about Freeport?
This is Ashley Huffines, Freeport Public Library. Just me.
Okay, thank you. I don't think there's anybody at ILA. I don't think they're out there. I don't think the state library is connected. They are. Anybody at the state library? I guess not. How about Kankakee?
Jamie Lockwood, Mantino Public Library.
Maureen Borman, Peatone Public Library.
Great, thank you. How about LaSalle?
Are they talking?
We can't hear you, LaSalle. I can see you.
Yeah, muted.
Hi, I know that's Julie. I can see Julie. That was probably Christy, but I can't. There's, okay.
Oh, dang it.
Well, we'll come back. I know you're there. I know there's, I don't think Macomb is connected. How about New Lenox?
Kathy Berggren from Madison area.
You sure about that, Kathy? I
I had to think about it.
Michelle Krozik from New Lenox.
Brian Smith from Rails.
And that's it.
All right, thank you. Quincy. I don't see anybody. How about Sterling? All right, how about Sycamore?
Nancy Ashbrook from Ella Johnson Library in Hampshire.
Thank you. And Vernon.
Good morning, this is Mary Witt from Rails.
Jay Caston from Rails and the Vernon Area Public Library.
Ashley Johnson, Business Outreach Librarian at the Vernon Area Library.
Catherine Savage, Head of Communications at the Vernon Area Public Library.
And Jill Skwersky, Engagement Services Manager at the Evanston Public Library. That's it from Vernon.
All right, great. Okay, so did we get Aurora back yet? Or do we hear them yet?
Aurora is connected. Just reconnect the LaSalle now.
How about LaSalle? Can we hear you now? Well, there's Aurora, yep. LaSalle, are you
Looks
there?
like someone's joining in Freeport.
Yes. Okay, and we see we have a new guest in Freeport. Is that Kathy? No. Who is that?
Oh,
That didn't work.
press it again. I think you mute. Huh.
Yeah, more they put the cable out.
Oh, maybe.
What?
That's it. Maybe?
Can you hear us?
Yes!
Okay. Penny Miller from Pearl City Public.
Great, okay. Okay, great. Did I miss anybody? Okay, well, if I did, speak up now or later. Okay, all right. So I'm just going to give you a brief update on some general news. It's the beginning of our fiscal year. We have our new strategic plan that we're implementing. So you're going to hear about a lot of projects today that we've launched or are about to launch and that are in full swing. The first, I just, as I said, some general news. First of all, our budget has been approved and awarded. We are level funded again, which is great news. That's the full amount of our area and per capita grant. So that is excellent, of course. And the cash flow, I think a lot of you know that that's kind of always an issue, is that we know we're going to get the money, we just don't know when. But that has improved markedly, so that's also excellent news. So financially, things are looking very bright, I'm happy to say, for all of us. Staffing, we've added a number of new staff since we had our last member update, I think, and some of them you have met today, notably our continuing education and consulting specialists, Diana and Margie. Margie has been with us, this is just the latest iteration of Margie's burgeoning career. We also have Stacy Palmisano is here today. She's one of our new administrative assistants, and some other people who aren't in the room today. So that's really good to be, I would say we are fully staffed. Anyway. We have some openings at RSA. We also have, because it's the beginning of the fiscal year, we have new board members that will be taking office next week. We have a new special librarian on our board. That's Hallie Cox from Kane County Law Library. She was very active in the predecessor DuPage library system. Also, Selena Gomez from Waukegan, and Sarah McCone Chase from Northern Illinois University, and Diane Hollister from the Bloomington Public Library. She's a trustee there. And we have some continuing board members, Scott Poynton from White Oak Library District and Sue Busenbark from Kewanee Public Library, also a trustee there. So they will be electing officers at the board meeting next Friday. We also have our Staff in Service Day next Thursday, which means that Rails will be closed for business that day. Even though I just told you that we are almost fully staffed, we do actually have a new vacancy that has just come up, which I should tell you all about, which is that Jane Plass, our Associate Executive Director, is retiring in November. So that's a big loss for us, a lot of experience and history. But we're happy for Jane because she's happy. So that's sort of the general news. Any questions, anybody, anywhere? Okay. All right, well then, I think we will move on then through our agenda. So we are going to now have an update on the Rails campaign to help all libraries tell their stories. And I think Mary Witt is going to kick this off.
Yes, good morning again, everybody. We just want to give you a little update on our My Library Is campaign. And several of us are going to be speaking, so we'll have a time at the end for everybody to ask questions or provide comments. Just to give you a little refresher, the My Library Is campaign is a campaign that's designed to help libraries of all types and sizes to tell their story and to prove their value to their different stakeholders. And stakeholders includes anything from administration, funders, boards, patrons, potential patrons, colleagues, students, anybody that you want to talk about your library to and get them to see you in a favorable light. This campaign is in direct response to feedback from our member libraries. During our strategic planning process in 2018, we heard from a lot of libraries that they wanted help telling their story. In fact, we heard from so many that we made it one of the major goals in our new strategic plan. Libraries do a lot of wonderful things, and I think the staff that work at libraries know that, but they don't always have good ways to talk about it, or they're not always good at tooting their own horn. So this campaign is designed to help with that. We also conducted a survey earlier this year to find out exactly how we could help members through the campaign. And so a lot of the activities that we're planning are in direct response to that survey. We really want to do what will most help our members. So, and the time for providing feedback is definitely not over. I hope if anyone has any comments about the campaign or anything we can do to make it more useful to you, please pass those along to me. We're also working with partners on this, like we have been in touch with the Illinois Library Association. They obviously are doing similar things to, keep members and their members up on promoting their values. So we don't want to duplicate any wheels, so we are working with the other people who are doing this. One of the new big things we have with the campaign is our website, and I hope you will all take a look at it. It's mylibraryis.org. If you don't remember that URL, you can also find it through the navigation bar at the top of the Rails website. And there's also a big button at the bottom of the website that says Tell Your Library Story. I just want to briefly talk about some of the things that are on there, and then you can go and take a look at it yourself. And again, we would be looking for feedback on how we could improve the site. On the homepage, you'll find the Dreams Take Flight video. Some of you may be familiar with that. It shows like children becoming familiar with the library and how that kind of affects them and leads them in to the future. It's a great video if you haven't seen it. It's in the middle of the homepage. We worked with a professional content marketing firm to design that, And we've made it available to any of our libraries to use on their websites, through social media. Some are showing it prior to library programs. There are several different versions, and there are English and Spanish versions. So if you haven't seen that, take a look at it. Another thing that you'll see on the home page is at the bottom there are sections for the different types of libraries, academic, public, school, and special. We do want to make this campaign useful to everybody, so we've tried to find resources that are useful to the different library types. There's a Getting Started section, I think it's Get Started, where you can find like talking points and general information on telling your story. There are library value calculators there. There's a training section that has both online and in-person events, and I won't steal Margie and Diana's thunder. They're going to talk to you about CE in conjunction with the campaign in a few minutes. There's also a blog where we're going to share useful tips. Some of our members will be sharing useful tips. The site has just gotten going, so you won't find a lot there now, but do check back. We're really going to go great gangbusters with this. One of the things that you will find on the blog right now is an entry that several of our libraries have told us they want ways to collect testimonials from their users. So there's a link there that you can put, there's code actually, that you can put on your website to collect feedback from your users. So take a look at that. That's in the blog section. And then a major feature of the site where I hope you will all get involved is what we're calling the sharing showcase. Through the survey I mentioned earlier, members told us that they want to know what other libraries are doing. They want to share best practices related to telling their story. So that's what this section is designed for. And thanks to the members who've already contributed things, there are videos on there that libraries have used. There are marketing plans. A section we call printables, which includes brochures, flyers, things like that. So please take a look at that, and anything you have to share that has been useful to you, no matter how big or small, we're really interested in libraries sharing what has worked for them. This is another form of resource sharing, which we're all very good at. So hope you will share there. I also want to just talk very briefly about what's coming next, or things that we're particularly working on now. One is talking points that libraries can use, and again, this would be libraries of all types, to show their value to funders or voters, like, if your library is threatened, or this is kind of for serious situations, or when you want support. These are actual talking points that you can use, and we're hoping to get something like an infographic or something that libraries can customize for their own use. So when you're talking to funders or administrators, you can pull out this infographic and have some handy talking points at your fingertips. We also are going to be working on another video in the fall with a survey that we conducted. A major need that all types of libraries expressed was help in showing that they're still relevant in the age of Google. So we're going to make this, again, we're going to work with the same firm that did the Dreams Take Flight video, and we're going to, produce a video that'll help you show why libraries are still relevant. So those are some of the things we're looking forward to. Like I say, please, if you have any suggestions, pass them along. Take a look at the website. And there is more that we're doing with the campaign, which now I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues. You've already met Diana and Margie. I'm going to let them talk about some of the CE plans, our continuing education plans.
Thank you, Mary. So one of the first things we've done around this campaign is offer a data series, and those have been multiple recorded webinars and in-person events. And as we know, data is important to collect for libraries, and it's an important part of telling your library story, no matter what type of library you are from. Some of the events we've offered cover the topics of thinking more strategically about what type of data you collect, and transferring spreadsheets into stories with data visualization. also data analysis and strategies for gathering and reporting analytics, and also data privacy. So these webinars and in-person events were recorded and are available on the Rails CE Archives page, so you can find the majority of them there. And also we have one this afternoon on patron data privacy at 1:30, and there's still time to register for that and attend that live, or you can watch the recorded webinar as well.
All right, also I'm going to focus on marketing related events. So beginning in the fall and into spring 2020, we're going to continue to support the My Libraries campaign with a range of continuing education opportunities on key marketing topics. So we're currently planning events such as creating a marketing plan, marketing on a library budget, developing smart social media strategies, and PR 101, just to name a few. We're working to offer these programs in person at various locations throughout our service area, as well as in virtual formats such as webinars or video conferences, in order to reach as many member libraries and their staff as we can. These events are going to be promoted in the Rails e-newsletter and on social media, so be sure to keep your eye out for them. And finally, feel free to reach out to us with any suggestions, ideas, and feedback that you might have. If you know of a great presenter or a topic that you'd really like to see covered, feel free to contact us here at Rails. Thank you.
And if you have any suggestions now, we could take those right now, or if you can contact us at a later time too.
Okay, thank you, Margie and Diana. Again, we'll open it up for questions and any suggestions at the end. We just have a couple more people to talk about. We're doing a lot with this campaign, and a lot of our staff are involved. One of the other things members asked for was some sort of financial assistance. Some people told us via the survey that we conducted that they had ideas for campaigns, but they didn't have the funds. So we're trying to work out a way to help libraries with Rails grants. And I'm going to turn it over to Dan Bostrom to get that discussion kicked off.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Yeah, I'm excited to announce some changes to the partnership grants. We're trying to bring those more in line with the My Library Is campaign. That, again, as Mary said, was something that we really did hear from members, that they wanted some type of financial assistance to help tell their story, to help imagine and create projects that will address this. So the partnership grants are going to change for 2020. The first change that we are making is we're going to drop the partnership requirement. So you can still work with other organizations, and we encourage you to do so, but some projects in telling your story will be done alone as a library, and we understand that. So you can apply again with other partners, or you can apply alone as a single library. We're still looking for projects that are replicable, sustainable, and offer impact for the community. A few examples: planning a coordinated campaign to promote a library program, service, or general library usage in terms of different media, print, social media, TV, cable, radio. Producing videos that show the value of the library or specific library programs or services. Working with a marketing consultant on a promotional campaign to promote specific library programs or services, an upcoming initiative, or to attract non-users to any type of library. So I didn't mention the name is going to change as well to the My Library Is grants from the partnership grants. But just like the partnership grants, any type of library can apply for these funds. Libraries can apply for up to $5,000. We're going to have 2 application periods, just like the partnership grant. The first will end in November. The second will end in April. We should have applications up by the end of August. So keep your eyes out for more information in the e-news, our social media, our email lists. We'll have information pretty much anywhere you can find. It will also be on the mylibraryis.org website, as well as the Rails website.
Okay, thank you, Dan. And again, we'll give an opportunity to ask questions here soon. But we don't want to leave out Joe Philippek. He's going to also talk about some grants in connection with our campaign. Take it away, Joe.
Thank you, Mary. As many of you probably know, Rails has offered CE grants for the last, I guess it would be 4 years, grants that began as really focused on networking groups to support the continuing education they provided, and then sort of expanding into individual libraries or consortia that were doing the same thing and that would open up their events to Rails members. And certainly, you know, there are people in this room and other rooms that have been awarded those grants for that purpose. And each year since we've launched these grants, we've probably averaged about 10 events each year we've been able to support, which has been really a great way to expand those offerings for all of you. But like Dan's grant, we are also going to look to focus the CE event grants for this fiscal year to really fall under the My Library Is campaign. And what that means is that we're looking to fund CE events that will provide staff training on some of these topics that we've talked about today. So whether it be marketing, promotion, advertising, graphic design, digital media, program evaluation, public relations, any of those topics. And I think that this campaign is broad enough in scope that I think we would consider the topics that would be eligible for this grant to be similarly broad in scope. But again, going back to the sort of initial and the intent of this campaign. Add a note that we recognize that some of the events that we fund are often sort of full day training events. They might be consortia training days and other in-service days that include a lot of different topics. We fully intend to still support those, but what we would be looking for to be eligible for this grant is to have at least some components of the My Library Is campaign and the topics therein to be in some way worked into that sort of the comprehensive staff training day or half day, whatever shape that it takes. The revised application should be up on the website, and also I think we'll link to it on the My Library Is page by August 1st, so you can watch for that. Of course, any questions on eligibility or anything else, you can send to our team here, and we'll be happy to provide feedback. So that is the grant and its changes in a nutshell. So Mary, I'll pass it back to you and for any feedback we might have from our members.
Okay, that gives you a little synopsis of what we're doing with the campaign. Very interested in hearing any questions you have, any comments, suggestions for CE or anything else we can do with the grant. So I'll let everybody take it away.
Hey, Mary, can I just make a suggestion?
Yes, sir.
I just want to note that people can search for My Library Is in CE, both on L2 and in the Rails CE page. They can look for My Library Is as a category, and it will filter out all of the other CE events that are coming up and just have My Library Is type events in the results box.
You must be a librarian.
Great, thank you, Dan.
That's great, though. Thanks.
We have to thank Brian for
Thank you,
for
Brian.
creating, yes, thank you, Brian. Always thinking.
Anything on chat?
No, chat has been very quiet.
So I'll just say thank you guys. Thanks to your team, Mary, and your team, Joe. I think that's an incredibly robust list of activities. And we heard loud and clear the need that libraries have, and there's probably a few other things coming down the pike that we're going to be doing to help meet that need. But really, this would be a great time if you have any comments or suggestions that you want to make while it's fresh in your mind. Anybody anywhere?
I have a question.
We have something for
Yes.
Vernon, Deirdre.
Okay. Just clarification. So these grants are not necessarily for use by, every library. It's like a project that our library wants to grow and the grants will go to us as an individual library versus like the videos that are being used for all libraries. Right?
Yeah, can you repeat that question?
Really?
I guess, I saw the video that was in Gail Borden, and all libraries are using that video, but these grants are for individual projects at individual libraries for individual purposes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and we are looking for some projects that would be replicable by other libraries on some scale. So keep that in mind. That's a priority of us. That these can be shared and cross promoted and things like that. But yes, it would be you as an individual library working on a video for your own library, not for other libraries in general.
Yeah, it's more the idea that is shareable rather than the
concept.
Yeah.
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 So that is
Right.
that is a point, though. You'll give extra merit to projects that would be able to be cross-posted, used by other libraries. Cool. Okay.
We also have another comment from Vern and Deirdre.
Is there a money range in these grants?
Yeah, the maximum is $5,000 that you can apply for, and we have $25,000 for the entire year. But that also corresponds to 2 application periods, so it has to last the entire year.
And then what about the CE grants, Joe?
No, we consider, obviously we have a budget for the grants, but for each individual applicant, we have left that open, and we've awarded anywhere from $50 to a few thousand based on how many members are going to potentially be able to participate and impacted by training. So there is not a stated maximum for that grant.
However, we have been known when there were just, really lots of great ideas to go over the budget a little bit. So we can be flexible. Well, we will be flexible if we can be. We want to fund as much as we can, obviously.
We want great projects.
We want great projects, exactly.
Cool.
Other questions, suggestions?
I can comment on just someone on Rails Live had said, and this is true, we've been thinking about this here at Rails, that the more template type materials that can be shared, the better. So people can more, easily replicate, or if it's a
adapt.
If it's a printable material, if it's super easy where they could just put their logo on it, even that can help, particularly really small libraries or libraries without a designated marketing person, etc. So if you have something to share like that, please do. Oh, and I got one more question that just came in. Are the grants from the state, or are they Rails funded through membership funds?
Rails is funded by the state. The members do not pay fees to join Rails, and so it is all state money. Anything else?
I would just like to add on a continuing education front. While obviously what you've heard shows that this is a focus, the campaign is very much a focus for us. It's not as if we're just stopping all the other CE that we want to do. We know that there are plenty of needs. We'll continue working with HR Source to provide those trainings in HR and legal topics. Ashley over at Vernon, Catherine will be talking about the census, and there's training that we want to do related to that. So it's not as if
minimum wage or some stuff related to that.
All those things will still happen, but this is just an area based on member feedback that we know we want to focus on. So that's all.
Exactly. Good point. Is that it, Mary?
That's it, everybody. Please look at the website, contribute your ideas. I also want to mention that anybody in Illinois Any library staff member in Illinois can contribute to the website. So as Deirdre always says, we're stronger together. So if you can all do your part and contribute materials, that'd be great. And please let me know anything else that comes up. Would love to hear your feedback. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Okay, we are going to move on to talk about L2. Anne?
Thanks, Dee. So I'm going to update you on what's happening with L2 right now. It lives at librarylearning.info. Hopefully, as many of you know, it is a continuing education calendar and library directory that is used statewide. It also provides your login for the Rails website and any other Rails managed websites. So even if you're not going directly to L2, you are likely using it. It was originally developed in 2008 as a collaborative project between what was at the time the 9 library systems. It was funded by the state library. It is still essential to the work of those of us who are at systems and at the state library. And it's also used by library staff statewide, like I said, to find and register for continuing education, as well as to use some of the directory functions, although that directory is pretty well hidden. If you look at the top right-hand page of librarylearning.info, click on the libraries link, and there, if you've never been there, there's a lot more than you realize. So over the past 11 years, we have really pushed the flexibility and sustainability of the platform as it was developed kind of to its limit. So we recognize the need to replace it completely and have worked with the state library and were awarded a special grant to pay for this replacement project. So our goal is to keep the important features that we all rely on, as well as making it more modern, secure, and user-friendly, and adding features that, you know, over the years we've realized we need. So the grant period officially began on January 1st. So we have spent the calendar year thus far in planning and in talking to the many stakeholders that we have across the state, including not just the systems in the state library, but all of the consortia, as well as the many continuing education and networking groups that use it to plan and schedule their own events. We did just issue an RFP to find a developer to work on the project, which is an exciting milestone for the project. You can find that on the Rails website. It's posted as an alert, so you'll see it right kind of as a special link on the Rails homepage. We do have the project team, the core project team, is made up of Rails staff. It is a project that Rails is managing, but we have representatives from Illinois Heartland Library System and the State Library on the RFP review team, helping us choose the vendor, and we'll continue working with stakeholders all throughout the project. Our anticipated go live is June 30th of 2020, which seems both far away and really close at the same time. We will certainly keep you, our members, posted primarily via Rails eNews as the project progresses, but we will need a lot of help with data cleanup. You might know that all of the data, or a good majority of the data in the library directory in particular, is self-reported by library directors. And the user accounts are also a big piece of L2. So if you do have an account, please log in and update it at some point in the next several months. If you are a library director, you have the ability to log in and edit your library's information, as well as the staff that are associated with your library. So we'd really appreciate it if you would go ahead and check out the list of staff that is associated with your library, remove people who don't work there anymore, and add any new staff. That will help us migrate the data as cleanly as possible when it gets to that point. Also, if you're at a public library, you can review the list of board members as well. So that's what I have, unless I think there's maybe a couple minutes for questions. But if you have any questions or comments that occur to you after this moment, we do have an email address set up that goes right to the whole project team. It's L2R@railslibraries.info, so you can feel free to reach out to us there as well.
So, thank you, Anne. I will speak from somewhat embarrassing personal experience that when I was at the Oak Park Public Library as the director, with all this power in L2 that I was completely unaware of, and that I paid absolutely no attention to L2, which I'm sure is true of many of you, frankly. Well, maybe just some of you, but I can't impress upon you enough what a powerful tool this actually is. And it will be, and I mean, I'm so happy that we're actually being able to redo it because, I mean, just as an example, when we have, you know, in the winter, when we have snowstorms and we have to cancel delivery, the way that we let people know is through email strings that we develop through L2. I mean, it is just such a powerful tool. We depend upon it so much, and you do too. You just may not know that. So, and I think a big part of the redo is also going to be about some education and communication about it, because it really can make your life easier. For finding people in events and all kinds of things. So really it would be great, so important if you could, and I think pretty much everybody has an account, they just may not know it, right? I mean,
you do have to set up an account, but
right.
we have thousands and thousands of people with accounts.
Yeah. So I really urge you to go into your L2 account. I mean, it's used for certification. Your L2 login is used for certification, as I understand it, right? Yes.
I know as part of our onboarding, when a new staff member comes on,
Yep.
we have a list, and L2 is included on there.
Good.
To add.
That's great.
And then when someone's leaving with their exit interviews.
That's exactly how it should
to remove
work.
them.
Yeah. Right. So, so we'll keep talking about this project as things move along, but. And maybe it was just me who didn't realize that little part. But I
But if
kind of
it's
doubt
you,
it.
you don't need to be embarrassed.
I use it every day now, at least once or twice a day, at least. So any questions for Anne?
I just want to make sure of the email address. It was L2R@railslibraries.info.
That's correct.
Okay. I did put that in the Rails Live too, if you want to look back at it.
Thank you. So any questions? Got to send out a kudos to Brian Smith wherever he is.
We have a question at Coal Valley.
Is that L
Oh,
as
great.
in Larry? Is that L as in Larry 2, R as in Robert at railslibraries.info?
Yeah, it just stands for the L2, the library learning, and then R we're using as like redo, if you think of it that way. It's just L2R.
We also have one more question. Will the site be available during the update?
We anticipate a cutover from the old site to the new site. So, you know, our plan would be to have the old one available right up until the new one is live. But we may have to freeze any kind of data input for a while that migration is happening, because that will likely take longer. But that's something that we'll work with our chosen vendor to plan, and we don't have a chosen vendor yet. That piece of the project planning will come later, and we will do our best to communicate that as widely as possible when it happens.
Yeah.
Someone will be able to answer this more clearly than I will. So someone is just questioning, clarifying whether only directors can update staff and board members on L2. I know that's not quite correct. And can we designate members of our staff the power to make edits and changes?
I think Brian can answer this question most accurately?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yes, I will answer the question. People other than directors can have the permission to do the edits. In fact, we do have a number of assistant directors, department heads, the executive assistant of the library directors do have those permissions. Any library director who does want to designate to another staff member can contact us, the L2 Help team, and this is a different address, email address, L2Help, so it's L2HELP at railslibraries.info, and then we can set up this additional person or people to have those editing capabilities.
Good questions.
And I have one more. What is the deadline for edits and updates before the migration?
We don't have that information yet. It's going to be a while. It'll be
plenty of time.
Yeah, there's plenty of time right now. We're looking at a go live of June 30th, 2020. So it would not be very much time before that.
So I do just want to give Brian a shout out because he has been the main person keeping this limping along, so to speak. Yes, you have. So thank you, Brian. Thank you, Ann.
Thank you. Thanks for all the good questions.
Yeah, you'll be hearing more about this. Okay, we're going to talk for a little bit about the system membership standards now. There's been a lot happening since the last time we talked about this, and so I'm just going to update you as to where we are and then some where we think we might be going. There have been some quite interesting developments. I think, first of all, though, I just want to take you through a little bit of information about the data collection that we did. Probably many of you recall, because a total of 774 libraries actually did participate in the data collection that took place between December and March. And which is not every library, but it certainly was quite a few. So we really appreciated that because it helped us to plan what to do next. And it gave us a lot of information about our member libraries that we didn't have before. So just a quick overview of what we did learn that were, some interesting things. School libraries had, a lot of school libraries completed the data collection. They had a lot of difficulty getting their budget data because they generally don't have budget data. They don't participate, unfortunately, in the development of the budget. But they were pretty generally highly enthusiastic about going and asking for this budget data because they really wanted to have it. So it was sort of it was an interesting thing that we learned, that they are kind of not part of this process, but that they really it was an opportunity for them to find out more. So we thought that was good. Some special libraries couldn't answer the budget data question for a different reason, and that was because the financial information in some of their organizations is confidential or proprietary, whatever. So that was a good thing to learn about the kinds of questions that we probably shouldn't ask libraries. And then we did realize that despite our best efforts to quantify the questions as much as possible, some of them really weren't. Well, for example, asking whether a building is convenient is a very subjective question. And while we meant well, it's obviously not the kind of a thing that you probably want to keep in a standard. next steps. So, that happened in March and, or ended in March, and then we've been, we were looking at the data for a while, and in the meantime, I've had a number of conversations with Greg McCormick and his staff at the State Library, and also with Diane Foote at ILA, and there's an interesting convergence of thoughts and needs, I guess is the best way to put it. We have pretty much reached agreement with the State Library that we are going to pare down a lot the number of questions that we ask to ones that are just truly quantifiable. Collection expenditures, hours open, education and training. There's a requirement in the administrative rules that all libraries' resources be discoverable by 2022, which is fast approaching. So that's a requirement that the state had put in. So we've been talking about how we need the answers to these questions, and for all of our member libraries. And part of it is really, part of the reason is very much related to telling the library story. I mean, the more we know about libraries, like what we've found out about school libraries not having budget information, the more we can find ways to help them become more empowered, for lack of a better word. So I think that we're going to take, well, I know that we're going to take very much a future-oriented approach. We have always said that all libraries would be considered compliant with the standards whenever they were implemented. But I think at this point in conversations with Greg, we're taking more of the approach that will not result in libraries being removed from the system if they don't meet the standards, but that it will be a way for us to find out libraries that need more assistance in meeting the standards. Of course, in the meantime, as you know, I think ILA has been redoing their, the guidelines for standards for serving public library patrons. So we're all going to be having the three main stakeholders, Rails and the State Library and ILA in this topic are going to be having conversations about really aligning all of the things we do, certification, IPLAR, standards, serving our public. The goal being, and I think you'll love this, having, one data collection, answering the questions once, having them in one place, or having them answered in one place. That's the broad overview. There's still a lot to be figured out. There's some conversations about the actual, in the System Act, there is verbiage about libraries having to show progress every year towards meeting the Serving Our Public guidelines, standards. That's been interpreted as, in many years and this year, as looking at a chapter in Serving Our Public, and the chapter this year relates to organizational management, and I've seen stuff out there on the director's list about CE for that. Where can we find CE for that? I think you could find it at Rails, but in fact I know you can, but the verbiage in the law is not look at a chapter. The verbiage is show progress. And so I think that the State Library is looking at that too and wants to think of, to work together with us to figure out, and ILA and libraries, to be sure that requirement is being interpreted broadly and flexibly so that libraries really use it to improve themselves. It's not just an exercise. But, nothing's been, the state library's still working on that. So, trying to think if there's anything I left out. I think, none of this will happen until, I think, 2021 at this point, because there's a lot of work still to be done. So, any questions? A lot to process. Nobody has anything to say about this? I find that hard to believe.
All is quiet on this
Um,
one.
Okay. It's a good thing. I think yes. Somebody want to say something?
Dee, this is Nancy at Sycamore. So this is pretty huge, and I've been working on the strategic plan, which kind of goes along with this because I'm trying to get Alla Johnson to be compliant with all of the member standards, which it is, but there is more that we can do. And so I've gone back to the Illinois State Library to ask about the EDGE assessment. Do you guys remember the EDGE assessment?
Yes.
And what I found is that that format is terrifically helpful in building the strategic plan more than just the goals and objectives of a strategic plan. It really gets down into the details of the technology assessment, which is what it was developed for. But I'm also using it as a template for community engagement, for professional development of staff. So I just wanted to put it out there that if you have access to the EDGE assessment for your library, you might want to go back and look at that document because it was very detailed and it's incredibly helpful. And I think this is also going to be helpful in paring down the membership standards that you all are talking about. And I'm very thankful that your ultimate goal is to get it down to one document or one report that we have to do instead of 3 or 4 or 5.
I do have a couple.
Yeah, I don't know the status of the EDGE assessment. I don't know if it's still something you can fill out. I guess you can. That was a state library activity a few years ago, but yes, it was. I think it was designed to do exactly what you're talking about. Yes, there's questions on
So
chat.
there's a couple. First is, can you explain discoverable information?
Well, I think the best thing for you to do, and I think somebody can help me find the citation in the administrative rules, I'm sure, these librarians. And I think this has been in there for a number of years. I think the administrative rules were updated in 2014 or 15. And it's really designed for libraries that are not automated. It's focused on that. There are still a number of libraries that are not automated. And it's, and so I think it says discoverability, make new resources available for discovery. I think it's as I will say vague as that. It's possible that putting your holdings in OCLC achieves that. I'm not sure. I mean, this is why I'm bringing it up now. It's why the state library's also starting to, plan for this, because it needs to be interpreted correctly, and it needs to be, explained to libraries that would be, have to comply with this.
Okay, another, I assume that ILA will keep in mind the minimum wage requirement will directly affect how much is spent on collection, etc.
Well, I don't recall what is in Serving Our Public about collection expenditures. I think they have an extensive chapter about that. And certainly we bear that in mind also. We've been talking about a variety of possibilities here, including range that we might use instead of a number. But the ILA requirement, or the ILA standard, as I remember it, is 12%, the minimum one. That hasn't changed.
And there is a comment regarding EDGE. I believe that EDGE is now a fee-based service.
Not surprised, it's an OCLC service.
Yeah, and they did put a link.
They don't get
here,
enough money from us.
They did put a link on Rails Live. If anyone's interested, you can just go to live.railslibraries.info, log in, and you'll see the links and the other ones that we've put here
Great.
too.
Thank you.
That's all for now.
Thank you. Okay, so here's the citation. Maybe you can put it out in the chat too. If you go to ilga.gov, will that bring it up? And JCAR Administrative Code.
I think it's probably, I found it by Googling 3030.200, just the first part of the citation.
Okay.
3030.
So it's in the administrative rules at 330.200. And then you'll have to read down
it's 3030.200.
Oh, 3030.200. And then it's small a,
Number two.
number 2, large N. And what does it say?
So it's like part A, number 2.
Yep.
N. And it is, the library shall, within 7 years from the effective date of this part, evaluate and report to the library system regarding the library's plans to provide and gain access to its new acquisitions via a local library system automation program or a shared bibliographic database, if such access is not already available via a shared database.
So that's why I said having your holdings in OCLC probably works. So that was 2022 minus 7 is 2015. That's when the administrative rules were updated. So that, I believe most, if not all, libraries already do meet that if they're holding those. But nevertheless, it's something that has to be dealt with. Other questions?
Dan just did put the full link directly to, sorry, I'm looking at a couple things here. Directly to the administrative code in there, and then also someone commented just that they think it's 16% for collections in the ILA standards.
Okay. Okay, so I know it's a lot to take in, but essentially what we're looking to do is make data collection more streamlined and make the data more useful and in helping libraries to develop. And you'll be hearing more about it, no doubt about that. Okay, so just a little bit about what we've been doing to help the unserved. The board does have a universal service committee, and they've had a number of suggestions. And the members of that committee are some board members, Dave Barry from Bartlett and Sue Busenbark from Kiwanee. She is the chair. And then Carol Meadow from Gail Borden, Lynn Stainbrook from Rockford, and Wood from Warren County are also on the committee. And so some of the things that we're doing, obviously this is a long-standing problem. It's not something that can be solved quickly or easily unless we got a whole big bag of money, which we're not going to be getting. But we are putting together a survey, another survey, but we thought it would be very useful to find out how libraries are serving the unserved, because we know libraries do. And we know some of the ways, for example, intergovernmental agreements, selling library cards, providing service that, some services for free, but not all services for free. So anyway, we thought we would see what we could find out, and that would give us a better idea of what's possible and what's actually going there. We've also asked our attorneys to help us, and we've been working with a couple of board members on this who are library district directors, to come up with some additional language for the Library District Act to make it a little bit easier to remove some barriers for libraries that want to form a district, either by annexing territory, unserved territory, or by combining with another library. We're also working on, we could look at our website and realize that some of the information about what libraries are doing and about what we're doing, it was kind of buried, so we're trying to make that more available for libraries that are looking for it. And we're also looking at grant data analyst is going to be looking at the any sort of general demographic trends or information about unserved residents, where they are, that kind of thing. And the state library, we did ask the state library if they could come up with a list of reasons why people are unserved. And I mean, obviously it's, a clear reason is, well, they're not taxed for library service. But even within that, there are different permutations, I guess would be one word. And, the more we know about this, the more we can try to with the problem as a whole. Any questions about that? Just a little update on various things we're trying. No? Where's my agenda? Okay. All right, well, I think I'll stop talking for a while. I think that Jessica is going to tell us about Explore More.
Great. So for those of you who don't know, Explore More Illinois is Rail's cultural pass program. You can access the cultural pass. Your patrons can access the cultural pass online. They don't need to come into the library to get the actual pass. It can be done on mobile device, and then you can make a reservation for various attractions for free or discounted admission into all kinds of cultural attractions in Illinois. We started and we had 87 libraries, and I just authenticated one. We're at 182 libraries in Rails. We in the past month, Swan Libraries joined us, and we have over 50 libraries in Swan that are live right now. So that's over half of the Swan libraries. So if you are a small library and you haven't gotten an email from me, if you're a director, just please let me know and I can get you added very quickly. We have all of your information. I don't need any kind of IT information from you. I can just get you added very quickly. We have about 20 attractions right now, and I have 2 waiting to get added, but that's really kind of what we're focusing on right now, is getting more attractions. We have been talking to, we're in talks with 5 to 7 attractions right now, some of which are, fairly big name attractions that we're trying to get added. I also started sending out an e-newsletter to staff for libraries that are on Explore More Illinois, and that includes monthly statistics. So if you're not getting the e-newsletter and you want to be, just send me an email and I can add you to the contact list. In the last e-newsletter, I asked if anybody had any promotional material that they had created for their library for Explore More, because again, I am getting people who are requesting, hey, do you have this, or do you have a press release? Do you have a poster that you've made? And I'd love to create a library on the Explore More Illinois website for all of us to share ideas. So if you have created any promotional material, just send me an email and an attachment if you're willing to share, and I can put that on our website. And I'm happy to answer any questions about Explore More if anyone has any questions about it.
I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry, Lisa at Rock Island, and I missed
Hi.
what you were saying. Is there a boilerplate news release?
We don't have one right now. So that is actually something I'm working on right now, to have a boilerplate news release. And that will get posted, I'm hoping, like first week of August, sometime in early August. So we are going to work on a boilerplate news release that libraries can use. If you've created a news release, by all means share that, please send it to me, and I can include it on the website, or I can incorporate what you've created for your library into our boilerplate news release. But that is something that I'm working on right now.
Great work, Jessica. Thank you.
Thanks.
It's growing. It's going to keep growing. All right, Anna.
Deirdre?
You're going... Yes,
I'm
sorry.
sorry. There were a few questions on Rails, or a couple questions on Rails Live about Explore More.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
One person is asking, we will have admin module to look at stats? Question mark.
I send out the stats to the libraries at the beginning of each month. So I can, if you just let me know which person to send that to at your library. I've been sending it to all the director who was involved with the setup at your library for Explore More, but I can add an unlimited amount of people from your library who would like access to those stats.
This particular one was from the Messenger library.
Oh, okay. Okay, I will.
And then the other
I'll follow up with Messenger. I don't know which
Great.
person it is, but I can let them know.
Great, thank you. The other question is, I've heard some patron feedback regarding the fact that they, in the central part of the state, are not able to access attractions in other parts of the state. Is that accurate?
Not even.
No, so I mean, let me see if I can kind of clarify. So wherever you are in the state, you can access all of the offers. Now, and actually the central part of the state has quite a few offers compared to other parts of the state. I don't know if they're saying that we don't have libraries in the central part of the state can't access the offers. And that is something that we're going to be working on with the Heartland system. Once we have our Rails members added, we will be adding Heartland libraries to Explore More as well. I don't know if that answers it, or...
It sounds like that. I mean, this this did start out as a Rails-only project for obvious reasons, but then it became clear that it would really work better and be so beneficial, and frankly, it's very affordable. So we did extend. We did pay to extend wide, but we didn't do that at the very beginning. So the Heartland libraries really aren't authenticated yet.
No, we have two that are on, but that's
we just got to that. We thought we should do the Rails members first.
That was from Ray, if that
Oh.
puts any kind of context
No.
to the question.
Because that's RSA.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll have to look into.
Yeah, and if you
I-
have if you want to follow up with me, please feel free to call or email me,
Yeah.
and we can discuss this further.
Questions, though?
Yes.
Anything else? Well, email Jessica.
Okay, yeah.
She knows all. Thank you, Jessica. All right, Anna, you're going to talk about some e-resources.
Yeah. So if you have the item number 8, a new opportunity through Rails to access resources for local authors, classrooms, book clubs, and communities at no cost to participating libraries. And I think when the agenda item was written, it's because we didn't have a name for this project yet, but we have a name for it now.
That's true. That's exactly it.
So I'm here to talk about something or inky.org, which I'm really excited about, and this is sort of the first time we're rolling it out to we're talking about it to everybody. So Inky is a new self-publishing service that Rails is going to be offering to libraries, or it's going to be available actually to everybody in Illinois. And there's not going to be a fee for it to purchase. So it's a self-publishing module that is powered by Pressbooks software, and it's a service that's going to give authors the ability to design and format an ebook and then publish that ebook in several formats. So it could be a PDF, it could be an EPUB, all the major ebook formats, I guess. And then once that ebook is created, authors can then that book, they can keep it and love it and hold on to it and just have it. But then they can also submit it to the Indie Illinois Collection, which is a collection of self-published ebooks that's available to everybody in Illinois through the BiblioBoard platform. Authors can also opt to submit it to Selfie Select, which is a collection that are sent to Library Journal, reviewed by Library Journal, and then Library Journal takes the best of the best and puts them in their national collection of high-quality self-published ebooks. And then authors will also have the option to take their ebook and submit it directly to the soon-to-be-famous Illinois Author Project, which, of course, is our statewide competition of self-published ebooks. Really, really exciting. If this sounds familiar to anybody, this is a service that we do currently offer to libraries through BiblioBoard for a fee. And there are some Rails libraries that do subscribe to it now, but BiblioBoard will be reaching out to those libraries to discuss the changes and kind of work on what we're going to do as we transition to making this one big, statewide. And if those libraries have additional questions, they can contact Rails too. But again, there's not going to be a fee for libraries to do this moving forward. As far as access goes, we are developing a website right now that libraries can then link to from their own website. We, like I said, are calling it inky.org. It's not live yet. Don't look at it now if there's anything there. But it will be up soon. Our expected go live date is sometime this fall. I think we're probably going to do a soft launch in September, and then a bigger push in October. So we're really excited about it. It's great for libraries that have writing programs or local authors or participate in events like NaNoWriMo or Indie Author Day. So way to get people creating and engaged, and we're really excited about it. So yeah.
Using ink.
Yes, ink. E-ink. Ink-E was the idea behind it.
So clever.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, feel free. I'm happy to answer.
Questions? Well, you'll be hearing lots more about this. Big announcement. All right, so now we're going to turn to the libraries to hear about some really wonderful projects starting out up in Vernon.
Hello. Can you guys hear us?
Yes.
Okay, we're live.
Good. Well, first, my name's Ashley. I'm from the Vernon Area Library, and I just wanted to say thank you to Rails for picking up my phone calls all the time and trying to help us facilitate all of these big ideas that we have. So thank you to Dan and Joe and Diana, and I just feel like I know you guys now. But now I'm going to hand it over to Catherine so she can tell you guys about why we feel like we're on fire.
Yeah. So, in case you haven't heard, this is coming, and it's really important to your community. I've been thinking about the census almost nonstop for a couple months now, but my colleagues tell me this is not normal and that a lot of people really haven't gotten this quite on their radar yet. So I'm going to sort of start with some basics. The census is determined every 10 years. We enumerate all of the living people in the United States. The first census was conducted in 1790, and one has been conducted every 10 years since then. And it's really important for a lot of decision-making over the next decade, and this is why it's important to your community. It's used as representation. So the census count determines the number of seats that your state gets in Congress. And just FYI, Illinois is probably on track to lose one, even if we do the best possible job with getting a complete count. It is the basis for drawing the boundaries of all kinds of districts, from congressional districts to school districts. It's also used to determine the allocation of more than $800 billion every year in federal funding. So they apportion that to where they know the need is highest based on the count. And those programs like Head Start, Medicaid, food stamps, emergency response allocations are all determined by census data. And directly for libraries, LSTA grant making has a basis in the census count. And it's going to affect all of those things for the next, with no recourse for fixing it if we don't get it right. So if you think about what the next 10 years of your work life looks like, if your community is drastically underserved or underfunded, consider what the next 10 years of life for your family looks like if your school district is underfunded. If you're heading into retirement, or if you have parents who are retired, consider what it looks like over the next 10 years if Medicaid in Illinois is drastically underfunded. So we really have a huge stake in making sure this gets right. The specific numbers that have been used to estimate is that for each that goes uncounted, you're going to lose roughly $1,500 in funding per year. And maybe that doesn't sound like a huge amount, but if you start to extrapolate that out to larger communities, it really has an impact. So $15,000 per person over the course of that 10 years. 10 uncounted people, we're looking at $150,000 in funding that your schools and other programs don't have. Can you imagine 100 people in your county going uncounted? That's $1.5 million of funding that we're going to lose. It's a big deal. The quote in the ALA publication about this is this, and I think it really captures this urgency, that we have one shot every 10 years to get the census right. And if we don't, undercounted groups won't get the appropriate level of funding for programs that are needed in their neighborhoods. And local leaders and officials won't have the need to make decisions. So the best possible outcome for your community is that we get it right. We have every person counted, we are complete, and we are correct. So what's needed for that to happen? Well, the entire community has a stake in this count being complete and correct. Sources of your entire community. All hands on deck, guys. And this is not just libraries. It's the business connections you have, it's the school connections you have, it's the municipal connections you have. We need to form a team to attack this issue on 3 fronts. So the first is that it's going to happen and that it's incredibly important that people participate. We need to give people the confidence to answer their census form completely and correctly. And we need to provide access to technology. This is the first time the census is going to be done primarily online. We happen to have public access to the technology that's needed for people to complete this. So why is this a library's job? Why should my library be involved in this? I think I've outlined why it's important to your community, and we are here in service to that community. To help, we're a welcoming and trusted institution. Libraries are more trusted than any other government organization and many other organizations in general. We have the space to coordinate meetings of teams and share resources, and we're really good at that kind of stuff. And we can do needs that are on deck. So I mentioned the technology piece. We all have public access to technology. We have communications channels that we can use to help spread the word. We can provide events, workshops, and after-school programming to increase awareness. and increase awareness of why it's important. I had already mentioned that, and we can help them answer the questions that they have about how to complete their form correctly, and we can assuage their fears about the form. There's been quite a media firestorm about this recently. And we're part of a network. We can rally the troops. So maybe you have a friends group or a foundation, chamber, you have connections at your school districts. You can get all of these people together in a room and form your community's plan for attacking this. So Ashley's going to real quick tell you the next steps, because I know a lot of people maybe haven't gotten this on deck yet. We've got 9 months to get this addressed. And we want to do the best job we can to amplify each other's messages and share resources so then we're not each inventing things from scratch. And Rails is helping us facilitate some of that, and Ashley's going to talk about that. I have a giant visual aid I'm going to put right here. It's my analog PowerPoint. There you go. It's got the URL for Rails, the page where all of these resources are collected. So it's railslibraries.info/services/census. And maybe you can put that out in the chat for the live stream, and Google it and find it on the Rails site.
So all of the events that I'm going to mention are linked and described at this website. But so tomorrow is our kind of first big event. We're going to be meeting at Rails offices in Burr Ridge to talk about complete count commissions, and grant funding are going to be coming available via the department, DHS, through the state of Illinois very soon, before the end of the month. So we have 3 speakers that are kind of the people that know everything that we need to know, hopefully, and we will have questions. You'll have a chance to come in person, or if you watch that live at live.railslibraries.org. That's tomorrow at 9:30. Then Wednesday, July 31st, we have a roundtable on the topic of programming planned. So if you're looking for ways to engage the census in topics as programming, this is where we can all come together to share the ideas. Whether you're serving youth or teens, adults and seniors, all topics will be discussed there, and hopefully we can all come together to create some new ideas and get those in the pipeline to be in our winter and spring newsletters into summer. So this is kind of the time to start planning if you haven't already. And you can register for those roundtables at the links at the bottom of this Rails website, and it will kind of send you back to L2 to register for the roundtable there. On Thursday, August 15th, also via Rails Zoom accounts. And this topic will be on services and resources. So how can you plan to engage your community in an effective way if you aren't already, or sharing how you're doing so effectively? What resources are available to you via the state of Illinois, the census, and other organizations interested in a more complete count? And whatever you guys have come, so it's a roundtable. We're hoping to have it be conversation-based and text-based, so we hear about everything that everyone's doing in our service boundaries. And that's August 15th from 10 to 11. And you can Rails page that sends you back to L2. And then the final thing, which isn't really an event, but we're hoping to see a lot of engagement there, is the Rails listserv that Rails had put together for us, and we thank them for that, to be a place that we can all share, in a listserv format. So Catherine and I are planning to share packaged plans for libraries to help them educate, encourage, and make tackling the census just a bit easier for their individual libraries. So that might look like marketing plans, that might look like screen graphics for your library, whatever you need fit on your schedule. We still want to make it so it's easy for you to get a complete count. And if you are doing anything, we really encourage you to share that on there, because I think it's, what did you say, Mary? It's the Rails motto that we're stronger together. Mm-hmm. So really, we would love to hear, and if you have started, or what you're thinking about, what you haven't started yet. So don't be shy. Jill, share. Okay, so that's all we have about the census. Thank you.
Take mine.
I just want to reinforce that, yes, Rails gets LSTA funds, which are determined based on the census count in Illinois, or in the country, as you say. So essentially, LSTA funds part of the programs we're doing for the census. So it's not just some, vague thing up there. It's real money here. Okay, any questions for anybody at Vernon? Thanks, you guys.
Thank you to Catherine and Ashley so much for your push in this.
Yep,
this
right.
is a pretty thankless thing.
Yeah.
It's not like you two are getting rewarded based upon the number of people you get into the census. So thank you. This sense of urgency is really what we all need.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, Evanston.
Yes.
Grant project.
Yes. So, hello, I'm Jill Skwersky, and I'm the Engagement Services Manager at the Evanston Public Library. And I'm here to talk with you a little bit about a grant that we received, which is now going to be a legacy grant in that it's a Rails partnership grant. We received funding and worked with Dan to complete a project around a dementia resource center for the community. And the project grew out of, it's kind of an offshoot of our memory. We looked at ways that we could serve the underserved portion of the community on the memory loss spectrum and their caregivers. We weren't sure where to start. The stars aligned at a brief moment, and we had a dementia advocacy group in Evanston. Some folks from Parks and Rec and Community Service who had a memory cafe they were hosting that had become overcrowded. They were looking for a second site. And then I happened to have, at the time, an assistant who had some knowledge and expertise in serving seniors and connections with senior organizations in town. So all of those things came together at a moment, and we decided to begin to host a memory cafe at the library, which we do monthly, third Saturday of the month, 1 to 3, if anybody would like to come. And we invite those on the memory loss spectrum and their caregivers for a very informal, not strictly educational, but an informal activity and just a space to build community and get out of the house and be part of the community. After hauling parts of the collection into that space for several months, to the library if we wanted materials to take home with them, we decided to create this Dementia Resource Center. Constructed shelving right outside of the room where we host the cafe, pulled portions of the collection, the book collection and print collection, dealing health, diet, cookbooks, activities related specifically to Alzheimer's and dementia, recatalogued or reclassified so that they now have a home in the Dementia Resource Center. And so there's a huge print collection now. We also, through the Rails Partnership Grant, have been able to create take-home kits. And those are tote bags filled with puzzles, games, story starters, art projects, fidget boards for a month and take home. We work with a number of partners in the community to do all of this. We have an advocacy group that models itself off Dementia Friendly America called Dementia Friendly Evanston. So Evanston is a dementia friendly community, meaning the library, along with these partners, is working to spread knowledge and understanding about the disease and its effects and how we can support those experiencing this disease. We know statistically that there are over 5 million Americans suffering from some form of dementia, that for every person with the disease, there are typically 6 care partners involved in caring for that individual, and that those numbers are growing. I was looking at the Alzheimer's Association website before I came today, And I can't remember, heart disease is at a rate of, I can't remember what the statistic was, but Alzheimer's conversely is rising at a rate of like 89% annually. Every 66 seconds in this country, someone is diagnosed with Alzheimer's or dementia. So, again, it's sort of that ever underserved, how do we help people live their best life? How can we be allies in that, in the library and in the community? And thanks to the Rails Partnership Grant, we have been able to lift that service to those in our community. If you're looking for more information about dementia-friendly communities, I would encourage you to look at the Dementia Friendly America website. The Alzheimer's Association has been very generous with their time. They've hosted an Alzheimer's community forum that helped us identify ways to move forward for our community. They do educational pieces too. But there's a lot that can be done, and you don't have to have a huge budget. And I think that even moving forward with the grants that you're talking about through Rails, some of these services can be funded. That's really all I have.
Thank you, Jill. That is really a wonderful project. Does anybody have any questions? We know where to find you, I guess, at Evanston, and that, like I said, that's really, those are scary statistics too, I must say. So thank you very much, and thanks for, it's obvious that the grants are really having a great effect, and I'm happy about that. Okay, now we are going to hear from Kelly Nichols Brown. And I'm not exactly sure, is she on the phone or Mary, you have any information about this? She was going to be here, but she's not.
Yeah, no, she was not able to attend, so I think, did she send you something, Dan, that you can share?
She just commented in Rails Live too.
Yeah, there was an email, but I didn't realize I was going to be presenting.
We will get back to people. She did say that she emailed the Cook County Library directors. She's been working on, appearances by Tony Preckwinkle out on our e-news and our website.
Right, I guess the short story is that Tony Preckwinkle, who's the president of the Cook County Board, is very interested in libraries and wants to have an event with us during the week. And that's great. And we're just trying to figure that out. I think it will really help to raise the profile of libraries in Cook County. It's great to know that she supports us. Anything else to say about it? At this point, it's not till September at least. So there's time, e-news, etc. Right, Mary?
Yes, we definitely will get back to people with more details.
Okay.
Wait,
there's something now. What?
Well, I don't know. Hang on. It looks like
We'll get back to people with more details.
Yeah, it's too.
Okay.
She's sending us a lot of information, but I think we will definitely.
Okay. That's great. Okay, thanks, Kelly. All right, so this is now the opportunity for attendees to share their library news, or if there's any questions or comments that you've thought of since as the meeting has gone on. Now is the time. Anybody, anything out there? Any of the sites?
Rails Live, I don't know if you saw that, Nicole. I'll just go ahead and read that. Messenger North Aurora Library, Kevin Davis and staff. We are having a busy summer with many materials incoming from Swan. We also are hosting summer lunches with the Northern Illinois Food Bank. 30 children up to the age of 18 coming for the lunch. We are planning financially for the upcoming impact on our budget for the $15 minimum wage, which will see us dipping into other line items to pay for increased wages and benefits. We are out to reset and entrance driveway this coming September and may have to close up for 2 days to get this done. Busy and thriving in North Aurora.
Great. That's great. Thank you. Anybody else anywhere?
People are thinking, I'll just mention, I should have mentioned this while Anna was talking about e-resources, but the soon-to-be famous Illinois Author Project is still in need of judges for this year. So if one is curious, and actually new this year also is a category for adults. So we're still doing our traditional self-published adult novels, and now we are adding a separate contest for young adult. And we particularly need young adult judges or people that are willing to read those books. And if you are interested at all, there'll be a link for judges on there.
Excellent. I think they're meeting today.
We are meeting today.
Yes. Anybody else?
We have something else through Rails Live. Milledgeville, I don't know if I'm in the process of joining the Rock River Library Consortium. I'm hoping to go live in time for National Library Card Sign-Up Month. We're planning all kinds of events and special activities for that month to share the news. Our previous director passed away recently, and we're getting several improvements, physical plant improvements, she or he. And then Harvey Library is celebrating 3 years in our renovated building by hosting an open house and AMP, school supplies giveaway. That's scheduled for...
Great idea. All right, well, it's 11:45. Still pouring rain here. We can hear it. Thank you, everybody, for attending today. And September update will be approximately when, Mary?
In October. We haven't set the date, but we'll get that information out soon.
Okay, great. Okay, thanks, everyone. Have a great day, rest of summer.